25 years ago, the EU proposed a plan to develop the Galileo satellite navigation system and invited many countries in Asia and Europe to participate. At that time, China's satellite navigation system was still in the development stage, and it decided to join the plan. China invested 200 million euros in this and signed a cooperative research and development agreement. However, after China paid all the cooperation costs, the EU excluded China from the development of Galileo satellites on the grounds of protecting core secrets. This caused China to lose 200 million euros, but still failed to obtain core technology. But now, China's satellite technology has achieved amazing results. 17 countries around the world have joined the cooperation and the number of users has exceeded 1.5 billion. But at this time, the EU hopes that China can share Beidou technology with them. In today's video, we will explain why the EU excluded China from the Galileo satellite system in the first place. Will China provide satellite technology to the EU now? If you find today's video interesting, be sure to subscribe to the Insider Truth channel so you won't miss any exciting videos. Now let's get into today's topic. If we talk about the most powerful satellite navigation system in the world, it must be the GPS of the United States. As early as 1973, the United States began to develop the second-generation satellite navigation system, GPS, for the Navy, Army, and Air Force. After 20 years of research and development and construction, this huge project was finally completed in 1993, but it cost more than $20 billion. Since then, whether it is navigation and positioning in daily life or in the military field, GPS has become almost indispensable. More importantly, GPS is also free and open to countries around the world. However, this convenience is not all good for other countries, because with GPS, the United States has almost mastered the movements of all countries and can sanction other countries at any time through GPS. This makes many countries realize that there are huge risks in relying solely on the US GPS system. In order to get rid of their dependence on the United States, the Soviet Union, China, and the European Union later announced the launch of their own satellite navigation system research and development plans. In 1999, the European Union, which consists of several countries, decided to independently develop a global satellite navigation system and named it Galileo, a name full of symbolic meaning. Initially, the project planned to launch 21 plus 6 or 36 plus 9 satellites into space, but it was finally determined to be 27 plus 3, that is, 27 working satellites and 3 backup satellites. The investment amount of the entire Galileo project is as high as 3.4 billion euros. The positioning accuracy of the system is set to no more than 1 meter. The goal is to provide accurate satellite positioning services to the world. However, the research and development process was not smooth sailing. The EU encountered obstructions from some countries when promoting the project, including technical difficulties and funding shortages. In order to solve these problems, the EU began to invite some non-EU countries to join the project, hoping that they could share the research and development costs and provide technical support. As far as I know, the EU invited Israel, Ukraine, India, Morocco, South Korea, Norway, Switzerland, and other countries at that time. These countries successively signed cooperation agreements with the EU and joined the Galileo satellite navigation system program. Even China, the third country to start developing a navigation satellite system, is among them. As early as 1994, China had started the construction of the Beidou 1 system. By 2000, China successfully launched 2 geostationary orbit satellites and initially built the Beidou 1 system. But at that time, China was still in the early stages of independent research and development and faced many technical and financial challenges. In this context, China also realized that cooperating with multiple countries in research and development can share technical resources and experience and share huge research and development costs. Therefore, China finally decided to accept the EU's invitation to cooperate. So in 2004, China and the EU formally signed a technical cooperation agreement and provided €200 million in funding to support the development of Galileo. The EU and China initially established a close cooperative relationship in technology research and development and resource investment, and China also hoped to further enhance its satellite navigation technology through cooperation with the EU. However, the subsequent development was beyond everyone's expectations. In 2005, the EU political arena underwent a huge change, and anti-China forces almost completely dominated. This change immediately caused great concerns within the EU about China's participation in the project, fearing that China would share and weaken its interests in the Galileo project. As a result, the EU gradually excluded China's Galileo R&D department on the grounds of protecting core secrets, depriving the Chinese R&D team of the opportunity to participate in the core technology research and development of the Galileo project. By 2006, the EU simply tore up the cooperation agreement signed with China, which meant that China would no longer be able to participate in the Galileo project. As a result, China not only did not obtain any key technologies, but also lost the €200 million previously invested. Faced with the EU's exclusion, China decided to continue to independently develop Beidou navigation satellites. But surprisingly, China did not slow down due to the technical support of many countries, but developed rapidly in the satellite field. In 2007, China successfully launched the Beidou 2 navigation satellite. The system consists of 14 medium Earth orbit satellites and 6 geostationary orbit satellites, covering the Asia-Pacific region to form a regional navigation system. By 2012, the Beidou 2 system officially began to provide reliable positioning, navigation and timing services for the Asia-Pacific region. After the success of Beidou 2, China continued to promote the larger and more powerful Beidou 3 system. In 2017, the first 2 medium Earth orbit satellites of the Beidou 3 system were successfully launched. The system aims to provide navigation services covering the entire world and further enhance China's international competitiveness in the field of satellite navigation. It is worth mentioning that from 2017 to 2019, China successfully launched 28 Beidou 3 satellites, setting a world record for the speed of global satellite networking, with an average of 1.2 satellites launched per month. This amazing speed highlights China's great progress in space technology. By July 2020, the Beidou 3 system consists of more than 30 satellites, including 24 medium Earth orbit satellites, 3 geostationary orbit satellites and 3 inclined geosynchronous orbit satellites, covering the world and officially opening services. According to official data as of 2023, the positioning accuracy of the Beidou system can reach a range of 2.5 meters to 5 meters, and the speed measurement accuracy is higher than 0.2 meters per second. These excellent performances have also made the Beidou system widely used and recognized around the world. Thanks to the excellent performance of the Beidou system, its daily usage has exceeded 600 billion times, and the highest daily peak has exceeded 1 trillion times. The total number of enterprises and institutions related to it is close to 20,000, covering various fields from research and development, manufacturing to application. As a result, Beidou satellites have brought more than 540 billion yuan in revenue to China. As of 2024, the Beidou satellite system developed by China has provided services to users in more than 200 countries and regions around the world, and 138 countries have signed satellite cooperation agreements with China. In addition, Beidou satellite technology has been deeply applied to multiple industries and has entered the relevant standards of more than 10 international organizations in the fields of civil aviation, maritime, surveying and mapping, aerospace, etc. China also announced in 2022 that the Beidou system will further promote intelligent and digital construction in the future, combining big data, cloud computing and artificial intelligence technologies to improve the system's intelligent service level. But what is interesting is that the EU now expressed its hope that China could share technical support. What is going on? As far as I know, the EU Galileo navigation system only completed its initial networking in 2017, with only 18 satellites in orbit, while China's Beidou system and the EU's planned Galileo navigation system both have a comprehensive network of 30 satellites. Therefore, the EU Galileo navigation system was only a semi-finished product at the time and had not yet achieved the expected full coverage and service capabilities. Although in the following years, the EU's Galileo satellite system gradually completed the launch of more satellites and began formal operation, the Galileo system has no inter-satellite links, and satellites cannot communicate directly, and must rely on the coordination and control of ground stations. This means that as long as there is any problem with the ground station, the entire system will be paralyzed. According to a German report in 2019, a serious malfunction of the Galileo satellite system paralyzed all European satellite networks and could not provide normal positioning services. At the beginning of this year, the EU's Galileo satellite navigation system collapsed across the board, with a total of 24 satellites collectively losing contact, and the system was shut down for an extremely long time, almost 100 hours. Now, the technical defects and failures exposed in the actual operation of the Galileo system have also made the EU realize that it must seek external help to improve the stability and reliability of the system. So now the EU hopes to make up for the defects of the Galileo system and solve a series of problems of the Galileo satellite through cooperation with China and the advanced technology of the Beidou system. However, China is cautious about the cooperation proposed by the EU, not only because of the unpleasant experience of previous cooperation, but also to protect its own technological advantages and interests. China also emphasized that the €200 million provided by China for the development of Galileo satellites has not been returned so far. In addition, the EU, as the defaulting party, must compensate China for its losses. After all, in the early stage of the project, the EU's exclusion of China has damaged the trust between the two sides. But I think that as long as the EU shows an attitude of admitting its mistakes and establishes a good foundation for cooperation with China, China will not refuse to cooperate with the EU. What do you think? Before we end today's video, remember to hit that shiny subscribe button. This way you will receive more insider information on projects as soon as possible. Looking forward to sharing with you next time.